All right, fellas, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to Bannerlord and helping you get better at Bannerlord through the use of advanced field command and tactics. And we continue on with our Kingdom Tactics series here, where we focus on relatively easy tactics you can use with each individual kingdom to dominate your game. Now, in this episode, we're going to focus on the incredibly strong, balanced Aserai kingdom. They have their very tough horse archers, the legendary Vanguard Ferris Javelin Cavalry. Their master archers are no slouches. And the most underrated units to me in the Aserai lineup are their infantry. In fact, I've done extensive testing with the Aserai veteran infantry and the Mamluk Palace Guard, and I find them comparable to any of the other infantry in the game. Now, a lot of people think the Legionaire and Manavliaton are the best infantry, but very simple tactics can be the difference between winning and losing with these units here. So we'll start this episode with a very quick test. We're outnumbered by about 45 here, 680 versus 720 or something like that. And I think this will demonstrate the incredible power of these Aserai infantrymen. You can see we're outnumbered and they have more of every single unit. And the only units on the battlefield here for this episode will be tier 4, 5, and 6. So in other words, the strengths of these units theoretically is balanced, but used correctly, it's quite unbalanced. Now, the first advantage we have, and it's a huge one, is throwing weapons, right? The Imperials have none in their infantry, the high-end infantry, and so we're racking up kills, racking up damage, and doing damages to the shields before the enemy even closes. We'll get in one last barrage here, and then we'll charge. Now, I'll talk more about how to use this very powerful infantry unit in this episode, but I just want to demonstrate that the ultra-powerful, supposedly Imperial force here of Legionaire and Manavliaton aren't that good when you compare them with the Aserai, right? This Aserai force is more than holding their own. In fact, it looks like even outnumbered here, we're going to win. The center is kind of broken down there. I do like to use a wider infantry line than most people do, and we'll talk more about formations during this episode. It's close, but as you can see, the Aserai are starting to pull away, and this battle's over. So outnumbered here with very minimal tactics, we just destroyed Legionaire and Manavliatons out of the way, right? Our Aserai forces are victorious. All right, so that's going to be one of the strengths for our army in this series. We're going to fight against basically 4 or 5 different kingdoms and different scenarios, or at least different army compositions. We will fight in the open for this series just so that you guys can easily see the tactics, and we will use the RTS mod. So the first battle here, I like to fight a mixed army of Imperials. This is a very common army makeup you're going to fight when you're playing the Imperials, and so we're going to go ahead and try this. Now, our Aserai force, I like to have just a smattering of horse archers, plenty of infantry, that tough infantry I just showed you, a good amount of archers, and then a decent amount of the Aserai Vanguard Ferris. We'll be talking about formations, and strengths and weaknesses and how to defeat your enemy using this Aserai force. You could have a little bit variance on the units that I have there, 32%, 31%, 29%, 27%, etc. But I would not vary it wildly unless you are a highly experienced commander. If you're going to do anything to the Aserai, I would increase the archers, right? Do not go to like 7, 8% archers because Bannerlord favors archers, right? If you're fighting with very few archers, the game is just harder. That's all there is to it. All right, so let's design some simple tactics here. Some of these I have experience with. Others of these we're just going to shoot from the hip. We will try a cavalry-heavy army. We will try an infantry-heavy army opposing us. And, of course, we'll finish it off by fighting the Khuzait with their horse archers. Now, I'm just going to do simple tactics for most of these. There'll be a little bit of movement, and maybe we'll make it a little bit more complex as we go here, but I want these to be the kind of tactics that even a relatively new player can do. All right, so 5 divisions. Actually, it's 6. We have 2 archer divisions, right? The 4th and 5th. The 3rd cavalry is going to be basically a shield, right? A protecting shield for one of our archer divisions. And then on the left here, we just have a weak infantry, or excuse me, a weak archer division and the horse archers. And we're just trying to hold the line with the archers on that left side. They're not very powerful units. We'll zoom in here so you can see this a little clearer. The yellow, or the green dots rather, come from the RTS mod. That's a mod I recommend all players who can get it download it, because it gives you this overhead perspective, and we will use that extensively in this episode. Now it's kind of far away over there. We can also, I can hold down one of the non-assigned units, and that'll give us all of the units so that you can see what's going on here. Now their horse archers are coming in kind of fast, so I want to get my units set up and standing on the ground. That way the archers are shooting. You don't really want to be moving when enemy horse archers are coming in, and so we will set up our formations here. Our infantry is going to be in a line formation unless they're under a hail of javelins or a huge cavalry charge, in which case we will square them. If they're getting hit by a huge amount of ammunition, we'll shield wall these guys. For now, line is just fine. All right, what else? What else? Let's move the 4th Corps up here just a bit. I want this line to be basically even, and the idea on this left side is the enemy has, I don't know, 80 to 100 horse archers, and we have more archers over there. Between our horse archers that are standing still and our archers, we simply have more guns on that side of the battlefield. Over here on the right, we're a little bit outgunned, but we have a really good archer division we're going to put behind blocking cavalry, and the 2nd Cav right here is going to be attacking infantry. Now these guys, you want these in a shield wall. Right, these guys are going to be blocking enemy arrows and absorbing a huge cavalry attack. You will generally see me put our better cavalry. Good job, boys. You're knocking their horses all over the place. You will generally see me put our best cavalry in that division on the left. Now, these archers here, this 5th Corps of archers, just strafing the shit out of the enemy, and these cavalry protect them. Not only that, as the enemy charges here, a lot of the enemy horses are going to get stood up here and then shot by archers, right? You can see how many got through. This one cavalry is the only guy that got through our cavalry blockade. That lets our archers work. All right, so the enemy's coming in here. We're gonna counterattack or counterpunch with the 1st and 2nd Division at the same time, right? Charge, and I recommend you hold fire with these guys. What that means is every single guy that can throw a javelin is told not to, is told to charge immediately. Meanwhile, look at this 2nd Cavalry flanking right behind the enemy, throwing javelins in their back, right? The 3rd is blocking over here on the left. The archers are shooting. You can give that archer division a little bit better angle of protection there. And this enemy infantry is being absolutely shredded by our strong infantry, which we just saw in the last demonstration. Wins out against Imperials if used correctly. And now they're getting javelins thrown in their back. Very bad news for the enemy. We'll speed these along with the use of the RTS mod, and this battle's already over. I mean, you could just tell from the death spam, this has been a disaster. Now, archers like that, send them a cav line. All you want to do is send a nice big cav line in a shield wall, kind of right at the edge of them. That way, as the rest of your units move up, those cavalry are sort of blocking arrows and occupying the enemy, right? Our forces are busy annihilating the rest of the Imperials. Now we've got this shield wall cavalry allowing our units to advance without being shot to death, right? These cavalry are absorbing blows. Now that our troops are starting to come up here, everybody can charge. And that's it. Again, this is a battle. We're outnumbered by 20%, and we don't just win here, we slaughtered the Imperials. You know, almost, actually, it basically is a 3-to-1 kill ratio. And we'll do a few examples where we put the sergeants in charge just to show you how important tactics are. You can't just F1, F3 and expect to win. However, I will say that the Aserai are probably one of the few kingdoms where F1, F3 is going to succeed a decent amount of the time. And maybe we'll try that for a battle or two. We will also put the sergeants in charge. So let's try the Sturgeons, right? Outnumbered by 20% and a huge infantry block. We're not going to be able to slug it out against their infantry now because they have so many infantry. So we got to get creative. We're going to create a very simplistic Killbox. Killbox is basically just a zone on the battlefield where their infantry gets sucked in, and by them getting pulled in towards our main infantry vanguard, they're going to get attacked on multiple flanks, preferably all three. We'll see if we can do this right. Let's see here, 1st, 6th. So again, we won't overcomplicate things for you fellas. You can definitely get more complicated, right? We're going to use this elevation over here on the left. So archers and horse archers. And I'm actually going to be using my horse archers as a bit of a block over there. Let's keep the 5th on the right. I'll try to use the same setup each time. So the 3rd and the 5th on the right, and then the horse archers, the 4th are the weaker archers, and then the 7th over here on the left. And again, if the enemy cav charges, those horse archers can square, they can shield. There's a big advantage with the Aserai vanguard, with the Aserai horse archers, and that is that they're versatile. All right, let's set this up. What we essentially want is something that looks like a bit of a U, a little U-shaped formation. Again, we'll use the RTS overhead mod, and I will slow this down and show you overhead from multiple angles, the setup for this. We want this 3rd cavalry in a shield wall, again, protecting the 5th archers. Most of this should look very similar. In fact, here, by holding this 6th button, you can see where every unit's going to go. The 3rd protecting the 5th, although I want to move those guys up on our left side. It's the right side as I'm looking at it right now. Let's move the horse archers up and that 4th archer corps. And what we're creating is a kill box. You see this middle area here, sort of right inside this upside down U or an N shape. As the enemy vanguard comes in there, it's going to be getting hit from the sides, and then we will give it a combined attack. That means it'll be greatly weakened, surrounded, and hopefully destroyed. Of course, I'm narrating these live. If any of these go badly, you probably never know about it because I'll just edit it out. All right, so here we go. We got a shield wall. The 3rd Corps is going to get attacked by enemy cavalry. We're also wary of all their archers, right? Even though it's an infantry heavy force, we don't want to get shot to death. We want to be the one doing the shooting to death. So our archers are working on both sides. Now, where'd their cav go? I think it's on the other side of this hill. It's over there somewhere. Let's just put the horse archers right there to sort of intercept for our archers. We don't want our archers getting ran over by cavalry freely. We want to slow down the enemy cavalry. The enemy cavalry, see, it's kind of attacking our cavalry and leaving our archers alone. That means our archers can shoot the shit out of these guys. You can just hear them being strafed by that 5th Corps. Meanwhile, the infantry is going directly into the kill box. So what do? The 2nd Division charges. The 1st Division unloads a bunch of javelins. Now they can be told to charge. And again, let me emphasize that hold fire, right? Have that infantry hold fire. They're now being surrounded. Jav cav are throwing javelins into their back. They're being strafed by archers on both flanks. We're getting hit by archers as well. This is not an easy battle, but very basic tactics here. And I think this battle's over. We can just speed it up. I charged with that 3rd Division, and I think that's all we got to do. This 5th Division at the bottom, you can charge with them. If they start getting too far away from the action, tell them to charge, and they will approach the action, try to shoot guys up close. And again, it doesn't get much easier than that, right? Very little tactics there. Most of that was the pre-setup. And again, we're approaching a 3-to-1 kill ratio. A pretty destructive, simplistic tactic here to destroy heavy infantry. They have tier 4, the sharpshooter, of course, tier 4 crossbow, all the tier 4, 5, and 6 units here. So, banner knights, a whole bunch of heavy cavalry here. And, you know, Valandia is feared for its cavalry, but wrongly so, right? Their best units really are their Volgier, sergeant, and their crossbow, their sharpshooter. But here we'll give a heavy cavalry battle on here against our Aserai force. And you know what? I'm feeling a little bit cocky. Let's do 1,000 against our 681. We'll give them a captain. Let's see. Some of that increases damage here, so it's even harder. Increased melee attack damage. Perfect, right? Nylia or whatever. And I still think we can win this, right? This Aserai force, if used correctly, is this powerful that you can take on 1,000 foes of equal quality in the open field here and still win. You know, it's obviously going to be difficult, and there's a chance I lose this. I narrate these live. Sometimes these go badly. But obviously, it's, you know what? Here, let's just charge this first battle just to show you how difficult this is and show you how necessary, of course, tactics are. I mentioned we might do this earlier. For the guys out there that are F1, F3, you got your Aserai force here. And I did mention earlier that the Aserai probably do better than most kingdoms in charge, but you're not going to charge very well against 1,000 Valandians, right? Their cavalry lines hit ours. The spears start hitting our guys in the chest. Their crossbow is absolutely untouched, firing away. Because they have so many cavalry, it just intercepted all our troops. Now they're just cycle charging behind us. Our infantry is being swallowed up by all their infantry. And it's a very ugly screen of red, right? So obviously this is an audacious challenge. 1,000 Valandians, we got immolated. like a 4 or 5 to 1 KDR for them, not for us. But still, with tactics, I still think this is possible. So let's give this a shot. Of course, the most numero uno important thing to do with cavalry is to slow their movement, right? You want to kill them with ranged units and shock troops. You're not going to kill them with guys swinging their sword with the shield. You need to kill them at range, and you need to kill them with palace guards. So let's go ahead and make, let's see what we do here. We can do an inner circle of ring defense, but I think there are other ways to do this too. Let's try a square here. In fact, we can square the horse archers. Let's be really creative here. Let's square the horse archers. I know that seems very strange, but the Aserai have the only horse archers that have a shield. They're very well armored. They have a shield. They can play defense. And then we will use these hills here to shower them with arrows and give them a counter cavalry charge from Doom, right, of hell. We'll have javelins flying through the air. We can try to protect our archers. We're going to use these squares out front, and the idea is to let our infantry throw their throwing weapons, their javelins and throwing axes and stuff like that, our archers to shoot, and then our Aserai Vanguard Ferris to throw their javelins, right? That third division will be the attacking division. So think of it this way, that we have 2 shields and 5 swords in this battle. The 7th horse archers, it's temporary. We're going to actually put those guys in a square. Those guys can play defense. Obviously, the 3rd cavalry here, it's going to look like the Rohirrim rolling over our right flank. The infantry will be useful at range too, right? Those guys are going to throw javelins, and this distance is about right. Right, you want them to be about 30 to 50 feet away. And if we put them, I think that's better. That way some of the cav won't get to our archers. And you notice those guys are all holding up their shield. They'll do a very, very solid job there as a square. Now this front one is just in a shield wall, but I still think that's going to be effective. Our archers are already shooting. Now, if they really start charging into our backfield, we'll charge down there with our cavalry and try to intercept them. But look how interested in the square they are. These guys are like, I don't know, I can't think of the right analogy. They're like a dog with a treat. They're like, what was in the fridge? Right? These guys are very interested in the square to their detriment. Right now, we can bring in our 3rd stack here of Doom. Those guys can charge and start throwing javelins. Our 1st corps is just dumping their throwing weapons into the enemy. The enemy infantry is coming as well, so we want to get to melee here, right? Those guys roar up. I like to tell them to hold fire, too. That way every guy is part of the battle. And now we'll bring in the 3rd behind the enemy here. Archers in the front of the enemy, javelins behind. Archers to the left of me, javelins to the right. Here you go, you're dead in the middle, motherfuckers. Very bad impersonation of that classic song. So you see they're still infatuated with our square. Well, now we'll just pull it away. And those horse archers, most of them survived. Now they can start shooting and be part of the rest of the battle. The archers are flaying. Our infantry went berserk. I don't even see their infantry anymore. Their cavalry is all over the place because they have, hundreds of heavy cavalry here. But it's a slaughter pen. You can just see arrows skewering banner knights one after another. Shot in the back because I can't move. And this has been better than I expected. Now, they still have more forces, right? It's 1,000 forces. They have all this crossbow. But they're at range, right? They're not doing a whole lot of damage. In fact, the screen is entirely green. Let's attack these bitches, right? They're probably going to reform because they're waiting for more troops to come up, right? Reinforcements. Our units are fucking thrilled. They're yelling. They're chasing down the handful of guys that are left. Interesting. The crossbow's not fleeing. Well, we attack. That's fine. You guys don't want to flee? We will run you down like dogs. Let's get some crossbow up in the trees and on these hills so they have further range. Give them a little bit of protection here at the 1st Corps. 180 of the 1st Corps survived. That's how well those guys did. I want to say we started with like 200. Their crossbows running for their lives, scurrying away to safety. And I just think what an amazing contrast, right? We charge and this Valandian force torches us. You use some tactics here in a countercharge, and it's the opposite, right? The Valandians are running for their lives. All right, let's charge with the infantry. Let's just get aggressive here. We don't need a 2-hour episode today. Our guys roar. This battle really is over. They could definitely F1, F3, but we'll use a little bit of tactics here just to eliminate any chance of defeat. Sometimes you get a surprise defeat in a situation like this because troops rout. So they're reforming. We'll reform. We don't need to charge into heavy crossbows firing. We'll bring our infantry mass murderers up here, and then we'll give them a combined attack. Cavalry's coming in here. Watch them get stood up, too. The Aserai veteran infantry, look at that. Like 4 or 5 horse got stood up. The Aserai veteran infantry are really all solid around units. That's another way of saying they're solid all around units. They have a spear, they have javelin, they're very good at melee. They really are superior infantry, in my opinion. If I was only able to choose 2 infantry in a campaign, I would probably take them and Legionnaires, or maybe Wildlings and them. It would be close. Alright, so they have a strange little compacted mass of sharpshooters here that we're going to have to execute. But this battle is over. We'll go through this process. They're racking up kills as we close because a lot of our palace guards are injured. A lot of them, obviously, there's no shields left because the infantry is starting to dwindle. But they get swallowed up. The Valandians are trucked. They get a little bit of kills at the end just to ruin our KDR. But this was 1,000 Valandians, and our force of 680 or whatever it is just ate them for breakfast. I ate pieces of shit like you for breakfast. You eat pieces of shit? No. But the Valandians sure ate shit here. They're fighting it out to the last man, but yeah, success is success. Alright, so we've dumped the Sturgeons. We took on a mixed army of Imperials. We ate the Valandians for breakfast, these pieces of shit. What else? I guess let's try, Battania. Battania is an exceptional challenge, and we'll do it outnumbered against a huge amount of Fiend champs. And then what else? I guess we can finish with a Khuzait, right? We'll just go straight across the custom battle menu here. So just give me a second. I'll set this up. 4, 5, and 6. Cavalry. And we're not going to be able to do 1,000. That's a rare case, mostly because heavy cavalry is so weak in Bannerlord. Let's go ahead and do the, 801. 801 Battanians. So we're outnumbered by 20% here. And 45% archers, right? So they're going to have a huge amount of Fiend champs, Fiends. For a lot of commanders, this is kind of their nightmare. Now let's see how bad the sergeants do. We haven't done this very much. I'm probably going to edit out that disastrous battle against the Sturgeons that took fucking 45 minutes. The stuff you guys don't see that goes behind the creation of an episode sometimes. There's a lot of pain. Sometimes you'll watch a custom battle for 12 minutes trying to capture some good footage to show you guys some stuff. All right, this is another good example. The Aserai are absolutely entrenched in a strange formation up in the hills, and it looks like we're gonna joust here a little bit, waste a little bit more of your time, and give them hell, they say. Just a cavalry charge every 30 seconds. Now I hear guys yelling. Our plan is to attack with the full force of our infantry against 350 Battanian Fiends and Fiend champions. What could go wrong, right? We just have this gauntlet, and they're going to charge headlong into this. Yeah, so this is... sometimes I wonder if I should even show this to you. At least they're flinging all their throwing weapons in here, but what a massacre, right? Charging Fiend champs head first. Now their infantry launches in. We're very lucky the AI is not spreading out and kiting with its Fiend champs, because then it would be really ugly. But it's still really ugly here, right? Charge. While the power bar says a third, the guy says charge. And we're not even going to kill 500 of their troops, right? Out of their 800. We didn't even kill half here. So let's go ahead and use some tactics here and see if we can't figure out this Battanian puzzle. Heavy archer army. Obviously, numero uno key is to contain them. Don't let them kite. And when you do attack, make sure it's ferocious and powerful. And for a new player, I'm going to really walk you through this one. We'll do a little slow-mo here so that you fully understand this. For many commanders, this is the hardest challenge in the game. Now, they're not going to entrench. We're not playing the attacker, because on this map, it would be torturous. They would be hiding up in the trees, and it might take me like 20 minutes to sort of ferret them out of the woods. We'll have them be the attacker, but we'll also be offensive here. We're not going to sit like the AI for fucking 6 minutes hiding up in the woods. What we're planning on doing here is a double cav charge. Basically, there's a false cav charge and then circulation cav charge. And I know that's complicated, so I'll show you it up close. But we're going to try to overwhelm this right side. Right, this is a little bit like Frederick the Great. This is an oblique order where we're going to overload one side of our formation and try just to basically power through the enemy on that side. Now, normally an oblique order has to do with infantry, right? Loading up one side, breaking one of the enemy's flanks, and then rolling them up. Here, what we're really going to do is just turn the enemy's flank and then a blitzkrieg assault so that their archers can't really spread out. Now, I've been mentioning this shield wall with the infantry, right? With these Aserai, you need to make your shield wall formation kind of small. If it's really long, you'll have a lot of palace guards that are vulnerable. So the 2nd, 3rd, and 7th, those are all of our cavalry. We're shoving hard here to the enemy's left, right? Our right, and we're basically positioning them to begin the onslaught. The 2nd and 3rd, these cav divisions, will have them hold their shields up, right? That way, as we move, we don't suffer a huge amount of casualties. There's a couple critical points, though, that I want to show you on top of this. First, the shields, right? 90% of these guys are blocking arrows. The palace guards are in the back. The second part is the archers. We need to make sure that our archers are unloading on the enemy as we move up. So as we're bringing our units in here, our infantry is getting closer, throwing their throwing axes, and it helps. We actually want our archers kind of close. So the 4th Corps is on that hillside there. I'm actually going to move the 5th, maybe even closer than that. Basically, though, what we want is as we're moving the enemy and spinning them, basically causing them to try to react to our movements, we want our archers firing at point-blank range. And it probably looks suicidal right now, but it'll make sense soon. So the false charge with the 2nd, that's designed basically to attract attention. And now the 3rd Corps is going to come in behind it, right? So this small division leading for us, and the 3rd is going right for the heart of the enemy force, right? So it's follow me. The infantry division is charging on the other side. Now look how close we're going to put those archers, right? Those archers are right on the enemy. And you might think they're vulnerable, but if we do this right, none of the enemy is going to be able to shoot. Right, our forces are coming in there, and they're running over Fiend champs that are trying to spread out. We got to avoid this little counter cav charge here. Our infantry bores in, and those guys did a pretty good job of closing. And talk about wrapped up, right? The Fiend champs are somewhere in there, in that maelstrom of units. The Fiend champs are probably trying to shoot, but what's happening is they're being strafed here by our units. You can just see the arrow fire. I mean, our units are going berserk at like 60 feet. And the death spam shows that, right? The enemy's all bottled up. Nobody can move. And our archers and horse archers are having a field day. So we're just going to continue to drag this cav division around, this 3rd division, which is the larger of the two. The 2nd division is on attack, but the 3rd is just following me. And I want them basically anywhere the archers go. You see these archers leaking out? We attack. Although I think they're actually routing. Because if they're trying to spread out, they're spreading out right into the face of our archers. And this is savage, right? I've done a handful of these, of course, for guides and in campaigns, but this is unbelievable. This is a battle we got completely destroyed by the Battanians. And we fucking mangled them here. I mean, this is... You know, we have pretty high standard on the channel here for success, and that is success, right? That is incredible. Basically a fucking 4-to-1 kill ratio against Fiend champs. All right, so let's do Khuzait to finish this off. And again, hopefully this series of different battles against all the different kingdoms of Calradia, hopefully this is exactly what you players out there, either just starting to play the Aserai or maybe struggling with your Aserai forces. Hopefully this gives you guys the recipes, basically handcrafted, each different kingdom, and also not just each different kingdom, but each different type of force, right? Heavy archer armies, heavy cav armies, etc. So far, we've just eaten them all for breakfast. And now Khuzait represents a difficult challenge, and this is a primary enemy of the Aserai right there to the north. Let's go ahead and do this. I was going to say let's not do another 8-minute sergeant battle. Hopefully this is a little bit faster than the last couple. Our plan is to remain on the defensive. They're running up into the trees again, kind of like that Aserai situation. That doesn't make me real thrilled. The horse archers coming in here. You know, there are ways to use the hills. We're not obviously covering that in this tactic series. These are relatively basic tactics we're covering here. We have all kinds of tactics on the channel. If you want to see tactics for particular landscapes, whether it's hills water, narrow spaces. We covered that as well, right? So a little channel plug there. But we're just watching the AI here defend against this Khuzait force, and now our plan is to attack with the full force around our infantry. A fatal flaw here in the AI. They're rushing their infantry forward while the horse archers are strafing them. Never a good thing. Against the Khuzait, usually you want to focus on their horse archers, not ignore them like the AI is doing. They're sort of charging the middle here. The death spam isn't terrible. They're getting some kills. The Aserai are actually, you know, they're fairly capable of dealing with the Khuzait because they have cavalry. And those javelins, you know, you'll two-shot Consguard. They're very powerful. The Aserai Vanguard Ferris, I have covered them in episodes. It's one of my favorite units in Bannerlord. But unfortunately, the AI here is not having pleasant results here versus a Khuzait force. They're not getting close to a one-to-one KDR. In fact, again, kind of like the Battanian situation, we don't need to watch the rest, right? They had over 500 left, and it was starting to go bad. So I've been working on this tactic a little bit. I've showed it before once or twice. This is basically just an improvement of previous tactics, and this is just your inner circle of hell with a firing squad, and I will show that component of it in this battle. The main concept here is protected archers within a ring with infantry at the front, a ring of cavalry, and then cavalry sort of attack dogs to push the enemy back into the firing squad. And I can't really explain the firing squad. I'll just have to show it to you fellas. Now, I don't like fighting at the back of the map here against the Khuzait, so we're probably going to move all these units forward using the RTS mod once this battle starts. You can fight the Khuzait at the back of the map, and if you're having a hard time with them, that's the way to beat them, right? Then they can't circle you. I don't like doing that for the channel. I like to imagine scenarios where either you're having a hard time doing that or you're trapped and can't do that. We're going to fight this out in the open like men, and of course we're still going to be able to win because we're going to force the horse archers right into our firing squad. So I've got the 6th Infantry. We're adding a division here. I told you we were going to make these more complex the deeper into this episode we got. That is Shield Infantry, our high-end javelin throwers, and they're going to protect the firing squad. This is an added step I've done from other kingdoms simply because you have so many infantry in this army. If I had less infantry, I would not do this. But with, what do we have, 220 infantry, I think it makes sense. All right, so the 3rd and 7th Division, the 3rd is a good cav division, Jav Cav, and the 7th is horse archers. We're going to use them to basically manipulate the enemy. And what I mean by that is we're going to, as their horse archers charge in, we're going to funnel them and sort of push them back into the firing squad. The firing squad is a line of archers that's outside the circle towards the back. And again, I'll zoom in. You want to shield wall the 1st Division. They're sort of protected by this ring of cavalry, right? That protects them some from archers. Both archer divisions are ready. And here's what I'm talking about. This infantry goes in front of the firing squad to give them a little bit of protection from shields. And here's the horse archers. We're not going to let them circle. So the 3rd and the 7th over there. And I'll also take you down to the ground level to show you what this looks like. All we're going to do here is essentially push the enemy back towards where they came from, right? Go back where you came from, you scum, because they don't like heavy cav charging them. And so generally, they're going to do what they're doing right now, which is to sort of run sideways, or an even better result for us is that they will turn the other direction, like that. When they're doing that, they can't hit us with arrows because of the angle of their bow. Right, and so literally now I'll just drag the 3rd and the 7th back. They come in for another round. The AI is totally conflusticated, totally confused, flummoxed, choose your adjective. It doesn't know what to do with what we're dealing with here. We're just basically chasing them around. Now our javelins are hitting the enemy in the back as they retreat. And you just rinse and repeat. Believe it or not, this battle is already won, right? We already have a major advantage. We've probably killed 80 or 100 of their precious horse archers, and the firing squad is doing its job, right? That line of archers is just scorching the enemy. Let's try a little charge here, see if that's effective. What's nice about a charge is these guys will run up as fast as they can, spear them if they... Oh shit, the enemy's already attacking our ring. All right, so... that division is... They are cut off. This battle's over. Let me show you what we'll do. RTS perspective of this. Let me show you in slow-mo here. The enemy cav is charging our shock troops, so those guys are dead, right? That's just, I'm telling you for sure. Most of you veterans know that. Cav charging shock troops is what we want. That's basically a money shot for us. Our infantry is surrounding their infantry. We have infantry right there. The 6th Division is on the other side. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to tell everybody line formation and at the same time charge. It's just an instant avalanche of violence. Every single unit starts attacking. So their cav is going to get insta-killed, right, by our shock troops. 90% of their cavalry just died. Like, it was seconds. Now their infantry is pinched in a huge maelstrom of different troops. You can just see it's just a swarm of our troops, and their infantry is somewhere in there. It's next to die, right? Those guys are going to die. After those two forces die, this Khuzait force is witless, right? We've already badly damaged their horse archers. Their infantry and cavalry are decimated. And as you can see, this battle is over, right? We're just playing it as fast as we can here because there's no need to show you the last execution of these last, 50 Khuzait forces. Again, pushing a 2.5 to 3 to 1 KDR. We call this resounding success. What's this? There's some insolent archers here holding out. So we'll let our guys get some fun, spear these guys here to end the episode. And that is that, right? It really is that simple. It's a basic formation and then moving a couple units back and forth, and victory is achieved. This will work in almost every condition against the Khuzait. In fact, let's try this in sort of their home field advantage here, right? We'll try the Akadan hill pass. It says, see how it says steppe? That's like their homeland. Let's see if it works there as well. All right, so the other thing you could do is you could just push them against the wall. But again, I kind of considered that chicken shit. Let's fight them here in the middle of the valley. I mean, it's downhill. It's kind of shitty. But let's go ahead and give this a shot. These fucking assholes. Well, ultimately, too many horse archers raining in death down here on us. My character's almost dead. But I don't want to end the episode. Sometimes, like, if you're playing golf or baseball or whatever, you don't want to end on a bad hit. Let's not end the episode on this. Let's fight the same battle. I don't want to show you guys one success and one failure because then it looks like the tactic doesn't work. Let's try the same battlefield and a slightly different formation, another way to beat the Khuzait. We won't use that left side, which some people consider cheese. We'll use this upper platform here on the right. That way they can still circle us and we can use some of the same concepts as we were talking before. Now, there's really not the room or the elevation for a circle. You really want to do the circle on relatively flat terrain. The reason is that last battle we lost because the horse archers were firing down into our ranks and the circle wasn't protecting them. If you draw out your circle or you're thinking about using that same tactic I just showed you in an open field, make sure that you're not down in a hole, in a dell. I'm trying to think of make sure that you're not in a low elevation spot. Hopefully that makes sense. If they're on hills shooting down into you, that tactic is not going to work very well. It wasn't a massacre, but obviously we lost that second attempt. All right, so let's try. These ridges are really undulating. It's hard to see what the layout of the land is until you get down to the ground. These are the kind of things that's actually hard to see with the RTS mod. And if you're learning to play the game with the RTS mod, you're going to have to get down to the ground sometimes, right? Because I can't see for sure if those archers can even shoot. We will do a lot of ground fighting this battle. Now, again, we'll put the 7th down there just to sort of funnel the enemy. But what I'm trying this battle is to drag the 3rd Corps in here behind the enemy. See this 3rd Corps? We will try to drag that around behind the horse archers and trap them. The big key to all of this whole series, this whole episode, is I'm trying to show you guys battles with fairly minimal movement. In other words, if you can mirror what we're doing here at the beginning and then just a couple simple commands that we're going to do during battle, you guys should be able to have success. Some of these are unbelievably easy, right? You basically set the formations. Yeah, so these guys can't see. Let's move these guys. Some of them you just set the formations and you win, right? Like you don't have to do anything. This one, this one's going to require a little bit more jockeying. You know, again, we're outnumbered by 20% here. These are battles, as we've already seen. If you either charge or you use the sergeants in charge, you get butchered here, right? You're going to lose. Yeah, so these ridges, you see how they can't shoot where they are. They're literally on the other side of those sand dunes. So we're going to move them over the ridge here so more of those archers can shoot. Doesn't look terrific. There's probably like 4 of you watching this episode anyways at this stage. I imagine even if I do some editing, this is going to be, you know, 35, 40-minute episode. The hardy 5 of you that are watching, I appreciate you fellas. How about that? All right, so we've got our cav lines in shield walls here. Again, the 3rd cav, we're going to try to slide behind the enemy. God, I can't get this fucking 4th division. Line up, bitches. Even though they're a little tighter packed there than I want them to be, that's going to have to go. The enemy's raining in arrows again. One of the problems against horse archers downhill, of course, is that they can just shoot over your shields. That's what we're experiencing here. The good news is at that range, they're not killing tons of guys, right? It's prickling damage. It's 5, it's 10. It's not killing every other guy. All right, so we'll bring this infantry forward. There's a perfect example. Hit me in the abdomen from 9. Right? You can take a bunch of those shots. All right, our archers are a little bit bundled up, but I still think this is going to work. On the far side there, we're just moving the horse archers around. Now we're going to swing in our trap, right? This 3rd division, we're basically going to charge behind the enemy, right? So I'm going to have these guys essentially follow me, and we try to wrap the enemy up. So we're going to approach from the enemy's left to the enemy's right and try to get behind the enemy. This may not work. We shall see. Sometimes tactics don't work, right? Their horse archers and cavalry are actually countercharging pretty well here. They always stab my camel, motherfuckers. Stab your horse, fucking stab my camel. All right, so their horse archers are scurrying away a little bit faster than I anticipated. That 3rd division, though, did push a lot of them down here in the valley, and that's what we want, right? We had those 2 archer divisions. We'll charge with the infantry on the far side there. I recognize already this is much more advanced than a newer player is going to be able to handle. I wanted some revenge for them winning on this battlefield. Part of it's the competitive nature I have. All right, we've got a big mess of units. We changed characters here. Let's see how fucked up things got. Not too bad. All right, let's start pushing in our infantry here. Their infantry's in the valley, and it has a sign on it that says kill me. They've got 100 archers there. We can start raining in fucking archer damage and just wrap them up here. See, their infantry is totally vulnerable here. The archers are drawing a bead on their horse archers, so good damage there. And we're just going to wrap up and destroy this infantry here. You fuckers are dead. Fucking kill my camel. All right, the infantry and the archers are getting into position. Let's bring the cav now. That way a lot of these horse archers are held up. You see how they can't move at all? Oh, you fucker. Them not being able to move is big, right? When you're fighting the Khuzait, any opportunity, any way that you can make it so their horses are sort of stacked up and not moving, that's just a victory in itself. Now their infantry and archers just died, right? We just pushed off all their horse archers. In fact, they're retreating right into the hail of arrows. That's beautiful. Their infantry and archers were in that mass there, and they got swirled, pulverized right there. Okay, they're not quite dead yet, but they're about to be dead. Their archers are scurrying. Our infantry is boring in on them because we attacked on the flank. And good night, archers, right there fleeing. All right, so these horse archers are in a bad spot here, right? They're pressed between cav lines with archers flaying them on the side. This battle already is over, but let's just fight this out here. Did a little spear work here. And sometimes I get to this stage of a battle and I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be of any benefit to these fellas. It is hard for me at times to essentially give tutorials on very basic tactics, of course, because I'm used to advanced tactics. I'm used to campaigns in very difficult situations where advanced tactics are necessary. Here's simply a divide and conquer situation. They have infantry and archers up the hill there. We're not worried about them. Let's kill their horse archers. This is what the AI didn't do earlier, right? While the AI was charging their infantry and archers, they were being shot by horse archers. We're going to focus on their horse archers, right? We're going to stab these guys to death until they either flee or they're all dead. And I think they just fled. All right. So mostly that threat is destroyed. Now we can destroy their last division here. It looks like a couple hundred guys up there. We've got the ridge to work on. Anytime you can get a ridge and elevation above infantry and archers, you want to get it, right? Like this is just, this is so gravy up here, right? We can spread the 5th division up here. Just position those guys beautifully. This 1st division we can split. Oh shit. Oh shit. We got killed by gravity. Gravity will kill you. Okay, it mixed our divisions again. This battle's over though. In fact, we'll go ahead and start our little end of the episode, the normal thing we say here. Try to do tactics and communicate this at the same time. I appreciate you fellas. If you're watching the channel, of course, you must already be a hardy tactician interested in seeing Bannerlord stuff. I love tactics. Bannerlord's an outstanding way to demonstrate and to show tactics. Of course, the AI could be better. In the future, we may engage in more RBM, but it's a wonderful game to explore tactics with. It really is like a chess game with a sword. There's all kinds of different things you can do. There's all kinds of different openings and troop combinations. And that's what we're really interested in on this channel, right? Obviously, tactical enlightenment. That's what we do here. Of course, if you want to see more, you fellas, you want to subscribe, hit notifications, all that kind of good stuff. I appreciate you fellas. Hit like on the way out. I always appreciate that. And as usual, leave comments if you have any comments. If you have any requests, you want to see a certain situation. There's some situations you just can't figure out. Let me know, fellas. With all that said, I will see you guys next time.